Welcome back to another exciting episode on the show. And you guys know I only bring the best of guests to my show. I take out my time, go out there to sort out for the best guests. And today we have Jordan Mendoza. Of course, he's a special guest. He's an entrepreneur and a keynote speaker, a best-selling author and co-founder of Blaze Your Own Trail Consulting. Jordan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Dominic. Excited to be here.
All right. So, Jordan, you are a best-selling author, right?
Yes. Yeah, very
What?
grateful to be a best-selling author for my book that released a year ago, The Life-Changing Power of Adversity.
For the course of this podcast, of this episode, is it okay for us to talk about the life-changing power of adversity?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So, what is your book about? And while you were writing, did you have it in mind that you were going to become a best-selling author with that?
Yeah, so great question. So the book, I wrote it. The reason why I wrote it is I had noticed around me in different environments, whether it was work environments, it was church environments, it was business environments. I just noticed that there, were people that were struggling, like a lot of people struggling with setbacks, struggling with things that happened in their life. And so as I started to kind of reflect on my own life and realizing, there's a lot of adversity that I've overcome. And I wanted to really dive in and see what could I extract, what lessons, what stories, what information could I extract that could actually help people get past those things. And as I started going through that process, I even created a methodology called the Blaze method, which I believe is a 5-step framework to help anyone overcome anything that they're facing. And so that's really the context of the book. And when I wrote it, did I think it was going to be a best-selling book? I had no idea. Honestly, I had no clue that it would become a best-selling book. My intentions and my goal that I set out for was I wanted it to help change people's relationship with adversity. Because if we understand that adversity is something that happens, for us, not to us, and it enables us to see through a different lens, and it enables us to get a new perspective that we maybe didn't have before, that's really when we understand that there is power in adversity. And the subtitle of the book, Dominic, is How to Overcome Struggles. So if any of your listeners are struggling, this book's for you. Okay. Unlock your potential. So if you feel like you're meant for more, this book is for you. And blaze your own trail to success. So if you feel like you resonate with blazing trails and you want to get to success, then this book is also for you.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, tell us, what adversity were you going through at that moment that made you decide to start writing?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. So as I was writing this book, this is it's actually one of the chapters in the book. I actually lost 70 pounds during the process of writing the book. And I went on this health and wellness journey. So while I was writing a book about the power of adversity, I was also going through lots of physical adversity in my body because I really changed up my diet. I started to do, a ketogenic diet, a keto diet, which is very low sugar, very low carbohydrates, very high protein. And then I also started taking some different supplements, natural supplements like apple cider vinegar, started drinking more water. And yeah, so you want to talk about, it's already hard enough to write a book, but writing a book when you are hungry, writing a book when you're tired, writing a book when your body is physically transforming, that's a whole other thing. But it actually makes sense. When you're writing a book about adversity, you better go through some adversity while you're writing it. It's going to make the content better, but also prove that your perspective can be shift in real time.
Okay. So, uh, Thank you so much for that. So, how did that book influence your journey from there on? Right now, you are an entrepreneur. You are so many things. So, were you an entrepreneur before you became a best-selling author, or you were a best-selling author and later
Yes.
became
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
book?
I had already built a couple businesses before I became a best-selling author. I had already had my podcast for close to 5 years at that point. So yeah, so I already had established some businesses and brand and social media audiences and all of that. And I had already co-written a book with some other authors back in 2022. So this was not my first rodeo. It was just my first solo book. So that, writing a co-collaboration project, which that book was also a bestseller, got mentioned in some news, some articles and things like that. That really gave me the confidence to know that I could write, my own book. But my book is comprised with personal stories of things that I've personally overcome, setbacks, failures, losses, all of that. But then there's also things that can help people grow from right where you are today. So I put a few different assessments that I recommend. I ask some deep questions, and I give people the ability to write in the book and kind of fill in the blanks. And then I give people resources that they can scan and go out of the book, go to maybe a podcast episode, or grab another book that might be able to help you on your journey. So the book is designed as a tool. Yes, you can read it, and it's a quick read, 110 pages. It's really, there's no excuse for anyone not to be able to get through it, and also it's accessible. So any one of your listeners that has Kindle Unlimited can literally go to Amazon and they can get it completely for free. So if you want content that's going to help you, and you're low on cash flow, but you have Kindle Unlimited, then you can even grab it for $0.00.
Okay, thank you so much. So, uh, Jordan, are there some adversity that came from your business life, entrepreneurship life, that also made you to write that book?
Oh yeah, so I had this really cool opportunity in 2022. I received a message on LinkedIn, and it was from a lady in Belgium, and they needed help with a go-to-market strategy for a new company that they wanted to launch and see if it could potentially make it to the U.S. someday. And so they hired me as a consultant, and after a handful of months, they came to the States and met me, and then that turned into a trip to Belgium in January of the next year, and then in June of the next year, I was added as the third co-founder to a Belgian-based tech startup, and and so if you think about that journey in itself, I tell people all the time, if you're not leveraging all these assets and tools like social media, then you're never going to be in a position for opportunity to find you. Because that one message now, you fast forward, 3.5, almost, it'll be 4 years this coming February that I've been involved with a globally startup, and our team is growing, and we're building our second product, and all of these cool things have happened. Now, if I said that there hasn't been roads and adversities along the way, I'd be lying to you, because I'm an American. I grew up in the States. My first language is English. Well, guess whose first language is not English? Most of the team in Belgium, we have people that are native French speakers, because the country, although it's a small country, about 20 million people, it's really divided into two regions, and you have a French region, which they only want to speak French. And some of them do speak English, but they prefer to speak French. And then you have the Dutch region, and they prefer to speak in Dutch. So that's an adversity, right? A language and communication adversity is, over the last 3.5 years, I've had to learn some of these languages because I need to be in meetings. I need to go out to eat. I need to get a hotel. And so that in itself is adversity. Now, that's just one adversity in dealing with a, multicultural team. Well, I'm also dealing with time zones, right? That's an adversity, 6 hours difference. Well, that might mean that I might have to wake up earlier, maybe 3 a.m. for a call now, or that might mean that I might have to fly for 10 hours to get over there for meetings. So that could create some adversities, So, but here's the thing, folks. No matter what you do, right, in life, whether you want to be an entrepreneur, whether you want to work at a Fortune 500 company, or whether you just want to go work at a grocery store, there's going to be things that come up in every single thing that you do. And, you have to figure out, how do I react? How do I respond? How do I keep my cool and calm and composure in all these situations? And so one of the best tools that I advise people to research and dive into is emotional intelligence. And there's a really great book. I reference it in my book and point people to it. They don't pay me to do it, but it's just such a great resource. It's a book called Emotional Intelligence 2.0. And what I love about it is it doesn't just teach you about the four buckets of EQ, how to manage your emotions, how to manage your relationships in social settings, and then actually, managing yourself. But it also gives you the ability to take an assessment to actually gauge, Dominic, where you are today, right? So you get to take this introspective look and see, okay, here are the areas that I'm doing well in. Here are some areas that I can grow in. And the great thing about EQ, emotional intelligence, is that it's something that can strengthen and grow over time. And it's proven, you can go Google this and research it, but people with higher EQ scores make more money than people with lower EQ scores. And so, you may look at someone that's a jerk and they're a boss. They may have a higher title, but if somebody was nicer and in a similar role, their salary would be higher. So that's just something that I wanted to share because I really feel it's a valuable tool for anybody out there.
All right. Thank you so much. So, Jordan, I wouldn't want to talk about your uh, best-selling author life, your writing life, without talking about your entrepreneurship life, because according to you, you said that you had been running businesses before you started writing, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about your entrepreneurship life. Now, the founder of Blaze Your Own Trail Consulting, right?
Yes.
So, did this come after your book or before your book?
Yeah, no, Blaze Your Own Trail Consulting, we just celebrated our 5th anniversary in January. So, yeah, we've been running that for quite a while, and we help really in 3 areas, Dominic. We help business owners and companies in the areas of sales, so sales systems, sales growth, sales confidence. Wherever they're struggling. I'm certified in sales enablement, and so I can help from really end to end of the sales process. And then we also help with social media coaching and growth and monetization strategy. So not just how do you grow audiences or things like that, but actually how do you turn these audiences into potential customers and revenue in your business. And the third area at Blaze Your Own Trail Consulting is really centered around the digital side, podcasting, landing pages, web design, things like that. But we want to help folks in the areas that are important for today's times. And, everybody needs sales, because if there's no sales, there's no revenue. Everybody needs a brand, because if you have no brand, you have no visibility. And everybody should have, in my opinion, a podcast and assets to drive traffic to that can turn those into potential clients. And podcasts, I helped over 200 podcasters last year grow and monetize their shows. And it's something I have a big passion for, because I've grown mine now for 6.5 years, and we have multiple revenue streams in my show. And so I'm able to really help people collapse the timeline of getting to the results that they want, instead of having to spend the 5 years that I have to figure it all out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, Jordan, I'm more interested in the aspect of monetization of podcasts. How do I monetize my podcast? I'm sure you can help me do that.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. So what I would ask you, Dominic, is outside of the podcast, are there any other things that you do?
Yeah, I do write. I've written like an ebook just about my own life experience, also with a little bit
Okay.
of adversity for losses, fear, and courage, and picking up from adversity.
Okay. And so is that available for people to get?
Nah, not yet, not yet. I haven't
Okay.
released the book yet.
Okay. So when you release it, what I would do, and what are you going to charge for it? Do you know how much it's going to cost?
They are thereabouts. Not. I think I'll try to subsist to like make it very very easier for people to be able to get. So $10. That will be okay.
Okay, perfect. So there you go. So once it's released, what you're going to do is, and now your audience knows that hey, you've got this book, so they're going to want to support you. And so when Dominic's book is released, he's going to release a podcast episode telling you about it, and then in that episode, you're going to put the link to it in the show notes, and that's the first way you're going to monetize your show. Is your audience can say, "Wow, I love the podcast. I definitely need to check out his book and learn more about his story." I'm willing to invest in the book. Does that make sense? So that is
Yeah.
your first way that I see that you can monetize the show is by talking about your product that's coming out, how it's what it's going to do for people, how it's going to help people, and then giving people the opportunity to purchase it.
So aside my product, what other ways can I sell other people's products?
Yeah. Yeah, some other ways. So, do you know your audience analytics? Do you know how many listeners you have each month? Do you know how many
Yes, yes,
uh,
yes,
okay, and do you know how many countries you have listeners in, all of that?
yes, yes. I see all
Okay.
of them
Well,
on my.
yeah, so based on that data and information, and then you know how many followers you have on all your social media channels if you combine them all. So what I would do is I would take those assets, right? These are all assets, and this is important for your audience to understand. Your followers are an asset, okay? If you have an email list, that's an asset. If you have a newsletter with subscribers, that's an asset. If you know how many downloads you get per month or episode, that's an asset. You see what I'm saying? So you want to calculate all of these numbers, and then you can formulate a sponsorship package. Okay. So you could say, hey, if you want to be an episode sponsor, so if you want to sponsor you to Dominic's listeners, if you want to sponsor this episode right now with me and Dominic here, then that'll be X amount of dollars, right? And so you come up with, hey, it's going to be $200 for to sponsor this particular episode. It's going to go out to X amount of followers. It's going to go out to our newsletter readers of 18,000. It's going to go out to this. It's going to go out to that. This is what you're going to get. And it's going to run forever until the show, as long as we're running the show, people can find this exact episode and they could click on it and they can down. Do you see where I'm going here? So
Yes, yeah,
what you want to do now is listen back to all these things, right? You want to get your social list, you want to get your email list, you want to get all these assets, you want to total it all up and build a proposal that you can share with people. And you can even do an episode about this. Say, hey, it was so exciting. We've got a new sponsorship program. If you want to sponsor a single episode, here's what the investment is. If you want to learn more, I'll put a link in the show notes, right? And then you put the link and they can view what the different opportunities are. If it's a single episode, if they want to sponsor a whole, do you do seasons, by the way, Dominic, or do you just do uh, just episodes?
yeah. Those episodes.
Okay, so they could sponsor single episodes, or they could be a title sponsor, which would be it's a bigger investment, but basically they would be the title sponsor of your show. So it'd be called the Hidden Secrets Podcast, sponsored by Nike, right, or sponsored by Adidas, or sponsored by Barnes and Noble, or whoever that big title sponsor is. But they get shouted out every single episode that goes out. They get tagged on social media. They get so build up that deliverable list. And again, here's the most important thing about this. You have to be able to deliver on what you promise. Okay. So if you're saying you're going to shout them out, make sure you shout them out. If you're saying you're going to tag them, make sure that you tag them. You want to make sure that you're over delivering on the value you're going to give any sponsor.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. So, two things: sell my own products and be able to sell other people's products and get sponsors. So, and I think all this depends on the growth of my podcast, right?
100%. Yeah, your show, as long as you keep producing episodes, your show will continue to grow. I don't know how you're promoting it. If you're doing social media content, if you're not doing that, you definitely should be with little short clips. If
Okay.
you have a newsletter, you should be sending that out. There's other ways you can grow it that are outside of just posting it on all the podcast channels like Spotify and Apple and all of that.
Okay, can you give me at least 5 actionable ways I can promote it aside just posting episode?
Well, actually, I'm going to give your audience more than that because I
Okay.
actually built a platform for podcasters, entrepreneurs, coaches, speakers, actors. I mean, it's for all of those types of people, and it helps you get more content out on social media, but it also helps you with thumbnails. It helps you with design. It helps you with all kinds of stuff to get those creative juices flowing and get the content out. And so if your audience just goes to BYOT, groupcoaching.com, anyone can like join completely free to get access and check out all the tools in the platform. But for all of our paid tools, we do a 14-day free trial for anyone because we want you to be able to test it, mess around, make sure that these are tools that are going to help your business. But we have 20 plus tools that help entrepreneurs, authors, creatives, podcasters, speakers. So really, it'll be helpful for you, Dominic. So I encourage you all to check that out. Now, the best part about it is I teach every Friday at 1 Eastern, and you get access for free to all of those weekly calls. And then if you can't make it, your dashboard has a link with all the replays. So in addition to all these cool business tools, I do coaching every week to help business owners grow.
All right. Thank you so much, Jordan. This has been a very, very exciting episode so far. So before you go, for listeners who would like to connect with you and learn more about what you do, how can they do that?
Yeah, just go to my personal website. It's Jordan J, the letter J, Mendoza, Mendoza.com. And you'll be able to learn more about me, my story, my journey, all the businesses and brands that I'm associated with. And if you've heard something that resonates, maybe you're just starting out as a business owner and you need coaching. You can click book a call, and I'd love to speak with you and see if I'm the right guy to coach you. Maybe you're looking for inspiration. Check out my book or my podcast. Again, for all your listeners, it's free on Kindle. And the podcast, there's no charge to just listen on our website, which was byotpod.com. And I just want to say thanks so much, Dominic, for the opportunity to share with your audience, and I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jordan. And I really appreciate you. Also, I would like to also be reaching out to you on growing my podcast and be able to monetize my podcast as well. I hope I can do that through your email address.
Yeah, you'll be able to do it. Yeah. Listen, there's so many strategies out there, and I've tried plenty that work and plenty that don't work, but it's just about being consistent and staying true to who you are.
All right. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day ahead.
You too. Take care.